So up next is another case study, and keep your questions rolling. It's totally motivating, and I think it's a great energy booster in the room as well for the speakers. So up next is the case study on the digital transformation in finance, and this will be shared by Richard Alvares, VP Head Program and Business Transformation, Shared Service at Ultratech Cement. And my question to you, Richard, is that how digital transformation can enhance financial close processes? Over to you, Richard.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Audible? Coming from paints session and the cement, I think it's a little bit boring, and the function also is a little boring. It's finance, so you'll have to bear with me. I'll be talking about 5 broad topics. One is introducing a personal event to this theme, giving form to chaos. Second would be introducing my company, my center. Third, I will take you on the pain areas which we had before the transformation. We'll tell you what we did to mitigate those pain areas, introducing technology. And finally, of course, how did we fund it broadly? How did it sustain the ROI? So this was last year in July. We had an opportunity to travel overseas to meet our son. Now this country per se will be on the top 10 list maybe to visit, but definitely not on the top 2. But having visited that country, I had a very nice experience, and 2 things I wanted to share today with you in line with the theme. So let me take you to the slide. So the left one is a GIF. If I know prizes for guessing the place, it's a famous Shibuya in Tokyo, and it's a hot tourist spot. There is a Starbucks. People wait there in the Starbucks to capture this moment. It looks like a chaos, but if you actually observe it, it has a very beautiful form to it. There are lines, dividers, everything, even though motor vehicles, in a very orderly fashion, they move on. So that was one experience I wanted to share. The other on the right, I think again, it's Tokyo. People have a lot of respect for each other. So they, unlike in Mumbai where you need to make your way out of the train or get into the train, here there are 2 queues on the edge of the door waiting to get inside, but allowing the passengers to get out first. The train, while it is not Shinkansen, but the Shinkansen experience also was very good. 4 decades of running, I think more than that, no fatality, and on time most of the time. Now that's technology, and what we see there is a process. So bringing technology and process together is what transformation is, and today's theme, bringing form to chaos. Something similar we also experienced in our journey, and I want to share it and how digital transformation helped us. This is Ultratech, world's 3rd largest cement company excluding China, India's largest. Some of the metric numbers: 70,000 crore turnover last year, 183 million tons per annum of capacity, and 250 crores of bags we sell every year. So that's the landscape of Ultratech. So UKC is Ultratech Knowledge Service Center. That's a captive for Ultratech. We do back-end accounting work for whole of Ultratech. On the left side is your towers, procure to pay, record to report, taxation, and master record. Few metrics, if I have to talk about, is around 2.5 million invoices that we process. 80+ books we close per quarter, every quarter. Though are not legal entity, but we have to close the unit books. The right side is the application which we use. Specifically today, the black line and SAP as for AFC is what I'm going to speak about. Now, when we started this center, it was around 5 years back. It was FY19, we went live with the first pilot. Moving from there, it was a journey. I'll take you to the next slide where I'll reflect upon the pain areas. We went 65 to 650 in 8 straight quarters of transition, and most of the time it was COVID. And you can imagine what chaos it would have been. So the left side is a 2x2 matrix which tells you on one scale is how you're ramping up your team, and on the others is the chaos which you are thriving on. So when we started, we were around 65 people when we did the first pilot. We did 650 in 8 quarters, and we moved to the right quadrant. And that kind was very, very hot in the sense that we had around double digit of attrition. We were around 26%. Our desired state was to move into that green quadrant. Now, something was stopping us. So the top 3 issues which we faced was on the right side. There was high attrition, of course. The reason was we did a lift and shift of processes, and the team which was doing the processes in the plant were very experienced people, and they were multitasking. But when we brought the process here, the team was not so experienced, and they had to do multitasking, etc., and which led to high attrition. The high attrition itself led us to a loss of completeness, assurance on completeness, whether all the processes are getting done or not done. So we were not even aware of it. There was no control on it. And finally, the lack of assurance on controls. So whether there is, I'll give you one example. I'll take it as an hypothetical. Imagine you are on the verge, on the eve of board meeting for the quarterly result, and the CFO happens to call the center and tells you, look, the auditor is sitting in front of me. You have submitted a bank reconciliation of a particular bank. The balance as per bank statement and the balance as per what you've shown in your reconciliation is not matching, despite that you're saying your reconciliation is correct. So that kind of raises an alarm bell saying that, is that only reconciliation which is wrong, or my entire processes are gone for a toss? So there is no assurance which will tell us that everything which my team does is on track, is in control. We didn't even know who did that reconciliation, which machine it was lying, and that kind of chaos which we were in. So these 3 issues led us to find out a solution. So what we did was a digital transformation roadmap. We put together 3 things. We did process, that is the operating model redefinition. Then we did SAP AFC implementation, and finally the black line implementation. Touching briefly upon the process change. So earlier the team, 80 plus locations team, were operating as a unit facing team rather than the process facing team. So we changed that definition. We brought a process model that kind of de-skilled the processes. The moment I de-skilled the processes, the requirement of resources also went down, the skill requirement, and we could right skill those processes. AFC implementation, we used it for our closing process. We have 80 plus books, approximately 20 plus major processes in each books, and 200 odd people executing those processes. So we needed an assurance that all those processes are completed. Even if there is a new joinee after training, he is able to do that. They are done on time, and the dependent tasks are also managed seamlessly. The final one was a black line implementation. I'll take you to the next slide, which will explain a little bit on one of the modules process which we implemented. This is a touchless bank reconciliation, where the application itself calls in the bank statement from the bank portal, bank ledger from the SAP, auto matches the transaction based on the set rules. Post journal entries which are based on set rules for bank charges, etc., which we can define. And finally, the open items are displayed in your balance sheet substantiation. So this kind of end-to-end touchless process which we could implement. So the question generally is ROI, and when coming from a finance background to give an ROI becomes very difficult. So while you have a logistic implementation, you can immediately have metrics coming out and saying that this is a cost saving, etc. But coming from finance, when you are looking for controlling your process, ROI becomes a little difficult. I just want to share one video. I think we have been brought up with this ad for long. I think it's a very famous ad. Let me try and share this with you. Before that, this is our dashboards of Blackline and AFC broadly. So on the left, AFC, you get a full control of all your location, which process is pending, which is complete, which are on time. And on the right side is your Blackline balance sheet substantiation, which tells you how your line items are, whether they are substantiated, what is the aging of it, all those could be displayed. This is the ad.
ये है NASA's most ambitious project ever, Juno, the spacecraft on a 5-year mission to discover Jupiter's secrets. Juno's scientific payload includes a color camera that will give the world the first ultra-wavelength microwave radiometer. In addition, it also has specially designed no cameras please ultra-high-speed engines that will take it to Jupiter in just 1 year. Any questions?
Yes. कितना देती है?
For a country obsessed
So this quite resembles what we do when a consultant comes to our office, or we as a transformation leader goes to a CFO and we present that this is a new technology and we can bring in control. The bottom line is kitna deti hai. So we also face that challenge, and it's very good to have that question, because being the lowest cost producer, every investment is looked at what returns are given. Now with the finance process, of course, you don't earn revenue, you only opportunity cost, but still we try to balance that out. So as I mentioned, we did 3 things. The operating model implementation, the first part. The second part was AFC, and third one was Blackline. So the first one, operating model redesign, gave us right skilling benefits, which means a high cost resource could be replaced by a low cost resource, while we do not have a labor arbitrage. But even in India to India, if you de-skill your process, there is a lot of opportunity in terms of a third of cost to be released in the system. And that was quite a chunk, and it was a repetitive recurring benefit which came in. Now, doing the operating model implementation by itself wouldn't have given us the assurance on completeness, neither it would have given us the assurance on the controls. So hence, implementing AFC and Blackline was necessary. The tool we have implemented is these, but there are options available. So basically, all 3 put together is a roadmap which we had, and a digital transformation which kind of self-funded. On the right side is a few of the non-financial benefits which are quite visible. I think most of important is your visibility which you will have on what is actually done, what is not done. Exception management can be done. Being on an Excel driven process, I think that's a very cottage industry type of processes. So moving to a technology-led processes gives you that visibility. I think that's about it from my side. Yeah. So this on the left side is your typical city traffic vis-a-vis the right side, where there is a lot of density of population, but still the chaos is managed through a very good form. So that's what we try to do. Open to question, please, if there are any. Okay, I can take it offline if required. Thank you very much. Sure.
Thank you, Richard, for that valuable set of insights. And the case study clearly, shared the clear understanding of the value process improvements in the area of finance.